They were promised security jobs in Dubai. They were promised university scholarships in Moscow. Instead, they were handed a rifle, a shovel, and a one-way ticket to the freezing trenches of the Donbass. Breaking investigations have exposed a sinister recruitment pipeline funneling desperate South African men directly into the Russian military. The government in Pretoria has officially flagged 17 confirmed cases of South African citizens who believe they were signing up for private security work or bodyguard training, only to find themselves conscripted into assault battalions in Ukraine. This isn't just a case of a few bad apples. This is human trafficking disguised as military recruitment, and it goes all the way to the top of the South African political elite. The mainstream media calls them mercenaries. The Observer calls them victims of economic conscription. To understand why a young man from a sunny township in KwaZulu-Natal would agree to fight in a snowstorm 6,000 miles away, you have to look at the hunger, not the ideology. These men aren't fighting because they love Vladimir Putin. They are fighting because they cannot survive at home. Let's look at the context. South Africa is battling an official unemployment rate of over 32%, with youth unemployment sitting at a staggering 60%. In this environment, a job offer paying $3,000 a month is not just an opportunity. It is a winning lottery ticket. The recruiters know this. They exploit the hopelessness of the born-free generation, offering them salaries that are impossible to earn in the local economy. But the deep dive data reveals a darker political twist. The recruitment network is allegedly linked to high-profile figures, including Zuma, the daughter of former President Jacob Zuma. While she claimed she was deceived and thought she was recruiting for legitimate security training, intelligence reports suggest a coordinated effort to deepen ties between the South African paramilitary left and the Russian state. The operation was sophisticated. Recruits were flown via the UAE to avoid suspicion. Once in Russia, their passports were often confiscated or held as security. They were forced to sign contract in Russian, a language they did not speak, under the threat of being stranded with no money. These contracts didn't make them security guards. They made them stormtroopers. Now, the South African government is in a diplomatic bind. President Cyril Ramaphosa has ordered an investigation, but his hands are tied by his own neutrality. Russia is a key BRICS partner. Confronting the Kremlin about effectively kidnapping South African citizens risks fracturing that alliance. Furthermore, the legal situation for these men is a nightmare. Under South Africa's regulation of Foreign Military Assistance Act, it is illegal for a citizen to fight for a foreign power without permission. If these men manage to escape the Ukrainian drones and Russian barrier troops and make it back to Johannesburg, they don't face a hero's welcome. They face arrest. The state prosecutor has already warned that they could be charged as criminals for the crime of being desperate enough to leave. The risk is that this pipeline is just the tip of the iceberg. If 17 men have called for help, how many hundreds are silent? How many have already died in meat assaults near Bakhmut, listed simply as missing on a paperwork file in Moscow? This sets a terrifying precedent. The global South is becoming a reservoir of cheap, expendable manpower for the wars of the great powers. So, what happens in the next 30 days? Watch the court cases in Pretoria. Several recruiters have been arrested. If they start naming names, this could explode into a massive political scandal involving the MK party and the Russian embassy. But if the cases are quietly delayed, it confirms that the government is more afraid of offending Putin than it is of protecting its own people. The verdict is grim. These men didn't sign up for war. They signed up for a paycheck. And in the brutal economy of 2026, the price of a paycheck is apparently your life. Are you just watching the news? Or are you observing the truth? Join the ranks. Hit subscribe.